Hi, hello, and welcome back to Click Static Season 3, powered by Wannabe. I'm the show host who brings you the most, Tasmay Krishnan. Once again, very much elated to welcome you all back to this show. A special episode during the IPL season. I've got three special panelists joining me who know too much about the game. And the first one being he's making his debut on one of the hardest surfaces to bat on, Click Static, Shashwat Kumar. He's a freelance sports writer. He specializes both in cricket and football. He's written for a plethora of newsletters, be it the Quint, First Post, Sportskeeda and ESPN, etc. He's currently freelancing for ESPN and Sportskeeda. So, Shashwat, thank you so much in such a short notice to join me. I hope you're keeping well.
Yes, I'm doing well, and it is a pleasure to be on this show.
Thank you, Shashwat. And another person who's making his debut here is Abhinav Kumar. He works in a political consultancy and he's joining us from a legal firm. And once again, thank you so much, Abhinav. I hope you're keeping well. He's an ardent fan of the game and he also freelanced as a commentator for Sportskeeda in 2021. So, Abhinav, thank you so much for joining me once again.
Pleasure being here and good to be with some familiar faces. So, an honor to to be making my debut here.
Absolutely. And now coming on to the third person, he's a cap player, but still I'm going to make him feel like he's not in familiar waters. Sai is joining me here. Sai, once again, thank you so much for joining me. And he's a Pitts Pilani engineering graduate, a freelance writer for Sportskeeda currently. He's aspiring to become a coach, a former semi-professional cricketer as well. So Sai, how many hats are you going to don here today? How many hats at least do you think of donning today?
Just one. I might be a cap player, but still don't have much experience here, so taking it as it comes. Happy to be here as always.
Thank you, Sai. And without any further ado, I'm going to explain this episode to our audience. So, this is going to be a SWOT analysis of the Indian T20 World Cup squad. A lot of intriguing picks, a lot of disagreements as of sorts, and probably another selector who might ruin our chances in the World Cup. So, let's get into this review straight away. And any surprises, Shashwat, from this T20 World Cup squad? Did you feel somewhere that one player who we all thought could be the next big enigmatic thing after MS Dhoni? Do you feel it was right on the Indian team, on the Indian selectors to leave him out and put him in the reserves, Lord Rinku Singh?
The thing is, once it became clear in January that India were going to go back to Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, that effectively left just two spots for these three left-handed batters. By them, I mean Jaiswal, Rinku Singh, and Shivam Dube. And with nobody hitting spin as well as Dube is doing recently, not counting the two golden ducks he's had in the past couple of games. But apart from that, his hitting against spin and Jaiswal's power play intent, it made it tough to look past them. So someone had to miss out, and it was Rinku Singh. Even though I don't agree with the decision, but I felt it was coming from a long time back.
Fair enough. Sai, what was your take on this? Did you feel somewhere that, Rinku deserved his spot, especially because he's proved his prowess in, diverse situations, whether India was 22 for 4 or whether it was slogging 30 or 5 of, a heartbroken Yash Dayal. So, what did you feel of this decision? Did you feel it was right from the selectors' end?
No, I don't feel like it was right. I understand where they're coming from, of course, because like Shashwat said, we have those two slots for those three left-handed batters. But I would have personally picked Rinku ahead of one of the backup spinners, either whether Akshar Patel or Yuzvendra Chahal. I don't think there needs to be room in the squad for as many spinners because I don't see them playing in tandem anyway, right? And if an injury can always happen, but that's the thing with 15-member squads. You can't have a backup in a 15-member squad for every player in the 11. So if it were up to me, I would have Rinku there for either Chahal or Akshar, depending. And of course, Akshar is locked in a battle with Jadeja, which an outcome of which we'll only know closer to the tournament. But I don't see why Chahal's there and Rinku isn't.
Absolutely. Abhinav, what is your take on this issue? Because I feel, the more the perspicacious insights that we get on this topic, the more that, the selectors will have a headache to discuss upon. I hope this reaches Ajit Agarkar at the end of the day. But yeah, Abhinav, what are your thoughts on this move? Do you feel, excluding Rinku from the World Cup squad or putting him in the reserves, was it the right move? Given, like Sai said, that you unnecessarily are taking four spinners, despite a perceived misconception of this pitch.
Uh, on Twitter, I used this word very, very often about the entire squad and the way the squad was selected. And the word is sorry for any profanity. It's horse shit. It is complete horse shit. In which world do you leave out a batsman who's coming in at who's batting with the in the worst time period. I mean, you're coming in as either a 5, 6, or a number 7. The most difficult positions to bat on in a T20 game, because depending on the situation, you either have 5 balls or you have 50 balls. It is as simple as that. And in all those kind of situations, Rinku, in the innings that in all the times that he's been able to walk out to bat for India, he's been able to prove himself. Uh, I mean, a lot of people would say it's a stat padded average, but an average of 89 at a strike rate of close to 170, it clearly does not joke. It clearly shows that this is a guy who knows who's adept at judging situations, and and is adept at understanding at how to go about batting in particular situations. I mean, he's good enough to smack 29 in 5 balls, and he's good enough to uh, bat uh, bat the situation and get and still end up with 68 of maybe 30 balls when your team has collapsed around you. So
Absolutely. I mean,
ideally, the selectors, if they had the cojones, they should have they should have been very clear in dropping all both Virat and Rohit. Neither of the two, I'm sorry, it'll cause a lot of uh, chatter and it'll rile up fan bases on both ends. But neither of the two deserve being selected, because here's the thing: you need to. I mean, you've not won. You This is a format where you need to carry players who do not have the fear of failure. You're
well,
carrying two
yeah.
players who are who are carrying a lot of past baggage of failures with them, and it's
Fair, fair.
and you really I mean, if you had the chance, and this was just the chance for you to be able to have bring players in who do not know what it is like to fail. At least give them I mean, throw people into the deep end and see if they can swim or not. Unfortunately, the selectors clearly don't have the balls, and uh, the egos of a lot of those players, in some cases, with their egos as big as their waistlines, uh, just uh, have created the situation where where we are seeing Rinku Singh miss out despite having scored on every occasion that he's come out to bat for India in T20 cricket. It's as
I,
simple
I,
as that.
I agree, but again, that Virat and Rohit point that you made was a very interesting point. I think this is going to cause an uproar amongst fans, and thank you for this point because it might, just stir up my views by a notch now. But all I'm trying to say is that right now, I feel this is my perspective that Virat Kohli, I don't think the best position right now for Virat is to open, given that his current form is quite good in the IPL. I think he should open, but ideally, I think the selectors would like him to bat at number three. And there's one thing about Virat Kohli that if he gets going, there's on his day, there's nothing to stop him. We have absolutely no bowler who can stop him. And but given that Mohammad Ahmed is coming back, that can be a different narrative now. But all I'm trying to say is that Virat Kohli at three is a force to reckon with. He's someone who can give you that stability throughout 20 overs. He's found that temperament once again. He's back in good form. He's scoring hundreds. He's scoring 50s for fun, and he's almost making the bowlers look as if they're in my under 14 and under 16 categories. So, barring that, of course, Rohit Sharma, I just think, Rohit Sharma is going. I, knew this before the IPL that coming in from good form, he had a good World Cup. He's got good number of games to back him up for the country. Before this, we knew he was going to come into good form into this World Cup. So, somewhere I felt coming into this IPL, this might be that 500 run season. So, I think, I just felt somewhere that this might be the season that'll click for Rohit. And I think that's exactly why he's there in the T20 World Cup as well, barring his leadership quotient. And that's a very interesting take, actually. So, what is your take on this, Sai and Shashwat? Do you feel it is justified for Virat and Rohit to, make it into the squad?
It's a tough one, Tasmay. Honestly, don't know where I stand on that because we all know how great those two players are and what they've done for the team in the past. But at the same time, if you look at current form, if you ask me my opinion as of today, I'd say I understand why Virat is there, but I'm not able to find a place where Rohit fits in that squad. Because Virat, at the end of the day, you can still make him open the batting. He'll still guarantee you a solid power play because we know how well he can hit pace. And if he's partnered with someone like Jaiswal, there isn't the issue of a left-arm spinner being used in the power play to counter those two, right? But with Rohit being there, I think that causes a lot of problems, to be honest, because dropping Jaiswal is not ideal. Pushing Kohli to three is probably one of the worst things that can happen to the team. As good as he is, we just can't risk him being there at three to face 5 to 6 overs of spin post the power play. So to make the best use of his ability, he has to open. So if you ask me today, that's where I stand. But I think all of us need to understand that there are a lot of factors that go into this outside just cricketing merit, right? There are various reasons why squads are selected in the way they are. And I don't think it's right for us to sit and criticize that. It is what it is. But the only question is, how can we make the most of what we have right now? And there, I think my ideal would be Kohli Jaiswal opening with Rohit not there.
That's an interesting take. But just before I progress on to Shashwat, just a one-word answer I'd like from Sai. Who would captain in the absence of Rohit Sharma, if the hypothetical scenario, of course?
Ah, put me on the spot there, but if you want one word, I'd say Samson.
Okay, that's a very intriguing take. In fact, I'm for that take, but yeah, we'll come back to that. Maybe I can make another episode out of that. But Shashwat, yeah, what's your take on Virat and Rohit? Um,
It is a little unpopular, of course, but in an ideal case scenario, I'd rather have taken two other players to the World Cup. Give so just if you look at all the T20 World Cup teams that we've sent, and the only team that has been successful, of course, it was the first edition, but it was a team that consisted of so many youngsters and who, as Abhinav said, did not have that fear of failure, basically. They could just go out there and express themselves. So I was leaning towards that kind of a squad, probably with if Hardik is fit and now that he's bowling decently also in the recent past with probably Hardik as captain. And then you fit all the other players around him. You have probably Jaiswal opening, then you have spots for Rinku Singh and Shivam Dubey in the middle order as well. And of course, you have Surya Kumar, the other batting at number three, which I feel is his best spot. But I can sort of figure out how the selectors have come and stumbled upon this team, because it was very clear when they announced the team for the Afghanistan series earlier in the year which direction they wanted to go in. And once they had decided on selecting one of these two stalwarts, the other had to be there. And
yeah,
once they selected Rohit to be their captain to lead them into the campaign, then I feel they had to have included Virat as well. If you ask my personal choice of the two, and from a, a cricketing point of view, I'd rather have Rohit in the team just because of the way he can bat in the power play and how he dominated the power plays of the ODI World Cup. If he can do something similar, those 10 ball 30s, 20 ball 45s, those are really useful in T20 cricket. And just on days when he bats through, I don't really think he has a problem hitting sixes against spin as well. So that is my
agree.
take.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, in all fairness, that point about Rohit also holds strong because, yes, and we saw what havoc that he wrecked in the World Cup as well. So he's got the game. It's not like, yes, the last 5 games, he's only got 34 runs on the board. But barring that, I think he's got a good idea. Barring that, okay, maybe in relativity is the point of view I'm looking at. From 2018 to 2023, it was a string of bad IPLs. From 2024, it feels like an upgrade of what we had seen earlier. But in all honesty, I do feel that these two spots, because it's an ICC event and because there's a big possibility of these two, big guns stepping up, I felt it's the right move to make. But that's a perspective, that's food for thought for another day. And that brings me on to the next, take in the reserves. And this left me absolutely perplexed. Where did Khalil Ahmed come from? I mean, the last time I remember speaking about him was a Bangladesh series in 2019 or something, and all of a sudden he bowled a good over to MSD and he's back in the mix in the reserves. And I feel that's so unjustified when you compare it to Natarajan. I feel T. Natarajan, in all honesty, deserved a spot in the World Cup squad, whether in the reserves or whether in the 15 that has been taken. I still can't comprehend that because somewhere I felt this was some big misjudgment done by the selectors. Natarajan, a lot of people limit Natu to only death bowling finesse. Everyone comes in and says Natarajan can nail his Yorkers in the death. But I've personally seen him. I commentated on a few games for Sportskeeda where I'd seen him take the new ball, and he's been bowling quite well. He's got the outswinger, he's got a good angle of seam. He's also getting the ball to come back, and he's been bowling quite well in the power play. He's got an economy under 7 in the power play, and he picks up wickets for fun. I think he's picking up 1 wicket on an average when he's bowling in the fifth over. So we have such a bowler who can come in and bowl at any stage of the game. He's giving you multifaceted bowling. I didn't see a single reason on how Khalil Ahmed could possibly pip him because he bowled one over to the greatest finisher of all time. And I'm sure that Sai will be smiling out there right now because he's probably more of a Tala fan than me, but still. I do feel no, it was completely unjustified from the selectors' end to drop Natarajan. Abhinav, do you think this is justified? Do you think excluding T Nattu from the squad was a good move from the selectors?
Ideally, I mean, both Nattu and Sandeep Sharma should have been figuring in the select in the framework, because I think uh, Sandeep has been a revelation in this IPL. He should have, I think he should have been there in the squad over Siraj and Nattu over Arshdeep. And one could understand why Khalil has been picked in the reserves. I think because he operates at a slightly higher degree of pace, and that also matters. Sometimes the additional pace also creates troubles for a batsman. And I think you can plausibly think that is probably the reason why they've gone in for him. And the fact is that he's actually had pretty decent both his previous two seasons in the IPL have been very, very decent. For a very, very bad Delhi Capitals team, he's been amongst the few pacers who really stepped up in the previous two editions. So
But
it's
yeah,
understandable why he's been picked, but I would have definitely wanted to see Nattu in the main squad itself over Arshdeep.
agreed.
I think on current form, he should have been making that squad.
That's a very interesting take that you gave there. You said based on current form. So before I ask Shashwat and Sai on their takes on Natarajan, I want to just throw this question out to even the audience. You can always let me know in my comment section about this one thing. Why isn't the yardstick the same for all the players? You're judging a few based on the IPL criteria. You're judging a few based on how they performed in international cricket. So why isn't the yardstick the same? Shouldn't Shubman Gill has been selected based on past performances in different formats? In all honesty, his IPL has been very mediocre. In my opinion, I felt Rutraj Gaikwad fits in there in all honesty. But then, both international wise, also he's got more runs to back him up and with current form. So I just wanted to know any reason do you feel why the criteria of selection is not the same right now? Do you feel Virat Kohli was selected based on the IPL, and did you feel someone like T Natarajan is being eluded from the squad because he's not had a good last two games in international cricket? So why isn't the yardstick the same? This is something I've been unable to comprehend. And Shashwat, do you have any reason to this? Do you have any logic to back this up?
The only logic is it then allows the selectors to get who they want. That is the only logic I can think of. Because they might have had an idea of who they want in the team. Natarajan might not have figured for some reason, and that is why. See, whenever you talk about the criteria, this criteria is something that we sitting on the outside are trying to create, trying to justify whatever selections these selectors have made. We don't really know. We don't really know what their actual thought process is, and the only thing I can probably think about is they are expecting Bumrah to be bowling at the death, Arshdeep to be bowling at the death. Just in case something happens to Siraj, they probably wanted a better new ball option, and that is the only thing that possibly justifies Khalil's inclusion in the reserves. But if you ask me for my opinion, I'd have Natarajan in the 15 every day of the week, probably just behind Bumrah, especially the way he's been bowling this season.
Yeah, agreed. No doubt about that because I just don't understand this because the selection criteria has to be the same for all the players. It's got to be uniform, in my opinion, because I think that's what has been throwing away the World Cup largely. Because this time as well, I think Shivam Dube was a good choice. In all honesty, I feel he's a very good choice for the World Cup, not only because of his current form in the IPL, but he also proved himself in the opportunity that he got, in the Afghanistan series. He won the man of the series, if I'm not wrong. So he's got the finesse to back him up. He's got the performances to back him up. But I don't understand how a player is not, let's say, Bumrah is judged on both international and IPL. Great. Shouldn't that then be the criteria for everybody? If it's only IPL, keep it only as IPL. If it's only based on international cricket, keep it only based on international cricket. Because if it's based on IPL, then in all honesty, Ruturaj Gaikwad has had a better IPL than Rohit Sharma. That's just a take of mine. If Ruturaj Gaikwad has had a better take, then Ruturaj Gaikwad should be making it to the squad. If it's based on international cricket, then no doubt about that. Rohit Sharma has proved himself. But again, the selectors after my favorite Chika have been a kind of a letdown. But now, nevertheless, going on to Sai. Sai, did you feel somewhere that the four spinners, the quantum of spinners that they've gone in with to this World Cup. Given that the pitches we are not very familiar with, because I remember our friend Surya also told us that the pitches in US will not be as slow as everyone is perceiving it to be, because the CPL did produce not only in the Caribbean also, but even the Caribbean it produced quite a few high scoring thrillers, a lot of games. In fact, I was following the CPL, but then after that, a lot of people are coming out to say that the pitches will be very slow. You don't. That's why maybe you have to take in a lot of spinners into this World Cup. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and there haven't been any visit from the selectors to US and West Indies. And done some research on that as well. So do you feel somewhere that this is just a gamble of taking in four spinners? Did you feel somewhere they could have brought in another batsman or another bowler in there somehow into the mix?
Tasmay, do you see this beach behind me? I
Yeah,
feel like the general consensus is that the pitches in the West Indies and USA are going to be sand pits like this beach. But honestly, I'm not convinced at all because if you look at the venues, New York and Florida is where India are playing their group stage games. New York
yeah,
is a drop in pitch where we don't know what can happen. You can tailor a drop in pitch however you want to, put it in the wicket, and it'll be there, right? And the
correct.
stadium has 65, 70-meter boundaries. Same with Florida. Those Legends League matches that happened there where Sehwag and all were playing, those weren't shortened boundaries. That was the size of the stadium. Florida has a 65, 70-meter stadium on all sides, right?
Okay.
So I honestly don't understand, even if you have four spinners on the squad, how you're going to play all of them together. There is the chance of playing Jadeja and Akshar together to add some batting depth, but that's not a great idea either because both of them have been rather disappointing when bowling to left-handers, especially Akshar, right? And playing Kuldeep and Chahal together throws up a whole bunch of issues because neither of them can bowl at the depth, neither of them can bowl in the power play. I just don't see how they fit. And like you said, yeah, I think there's a gross misconception regarding the kinds of pitches and the kinds of scores that we're going to be seeing in the T20 World Cup. And if you ask me, definitely the priority should have been on batters and bowlers who can bowl at all stages of the innings.
Fair, fair. I absolutely agree with that. And I felt somewhere that Sandeep Sharma, as Abhinav mentioned rightly, I think he did deserve a spot ahead of one of the spinners because, see, that's the one thing that you mentioned correctly that Sandeep has the ability to bowl in any stage of the game. He can bowl with the new ball, he can bowl in the middle overs, he can come in and bowl towards the death. And Shashwat also correctly pointed out saying that they're expecting, hypothetically, Ashdeep and Bumrah to work out in the end. So everything has been taken from an optimistic perspective. There's no safety net for these two bowlers, right? Hardik Pandya he's a moody bowler. He's the Mohammad Azharuddin of bowling. So all I'm trying to give here is that towards the second half of the game, if you have Jasprit Bumrah and you have Arshdeep Singh finishing the game, if something goes wrong, your safety net who you have to fall back to is going to be Mohammad Siraj. So if you're going to fall back to Mohammad Siraj, I wonder how the combination is going to work out. But Shashwat, do you have any combination in mind? And Abhinav, I would like to hear yours as well. And yeah, if we're not able to finish it in this part, we'll definitely transition on to a part two as well. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. But yeah, Shashwat, what is your ideal combination with special emphasis on how you look to set your death bowling options, right? Because I wouldn't rely on Arshdeep and no balls and Mohammad Siraj at the death for just any given reason. So
My ideal combination obviously will look a lot different because I have had different players in the mix altogether. But now that I have these 15, I have a feeling we are going to start off with three spinners in the playing 11, that is. So that means Akshar and Jadeja both play because the thing that this team management wants is for the batting to be deeper and to go on till number 8, number 9. That was primarily the reason why Shardul Thakur was also included in the ODI World Cup squad and was playing until Hardik Pandya got injured and left India with no other choice. I think that is the track that they are trying to follow again. Of course, with these games now being in the Caribbean and in the United States of America, and plus because Shardul is not really doing much with the bat and there's no other pacer who can bat, they've stumbled upon this formula where their spinner, the third spinner, that is, he will provide them with the extra batting depth. So I feel they'll start off with Jadeja, Kuldeep, and Akshar. That leaves space for two specialist pacers, which will be Jasprit Bumrah and Arshdeep. Plus, now if you start going upwards, then you'll probably have Hardik at 6. Whoever they want to choose as their keeper, he will bat at 5. Then you'll have Surya at 4. And the way things are going, I expect Kohli to be batting at 3 and then Rohit and Jaiswal to be opening. So that again leaves Dubey out of the mix, even though I would not like that, but I think that is what we might put forward in our first game.
All right, that's quite a fair assessment there because, in all honesty, that's a great squad, and I think in all honesty, this is just my take, and I feel at the end of it all, I think Rohit and Dravid will form the squad in a way in which Sanju and Dubey don't find a spot, and I honestly feel Sanju Samson deserves it ahead of Rishabh Pant. In all honesty, I feel he's the kind of guy he's proved his worth, time and again. He had a good international fixture as well before this. He's got a good IPL track record this season to back him up. And yes, of course, Rishabh Pant, no doubt about it. He's not had a mediocre IPL as well. Coming back from what he'd endured, he's got quite the IPL to back him up. But somewhere I feel just Sanju Samson, he's a bad. He also brings his leadership quotient, and I've seen the way he's handling Yuzvendra Chahal. It's just wonderful to see the way he's using him, the way he's guiding him. He told him in the ye ball marega, and then the next ball he said thoda upar dalo. He said thoda upar dalo, ye ball marega, and he pulled it up, and he went for a six, and the next response was ये ball bhi marega. And next ball he bowled it up again and he got out. So that's the kind of confidence that he's giving to his bowlers as well from behind the stumps. Now, many people might not agree right now watching this, but I feel the wicketkeeper plays one of the probably even more of a crucial role while handling the bowlers more than the captain. So I do feel Sanju Samson coming in will make one heck of a change for this lineup, and I do feel he deserves it ahead of Rishabh Pant. And not only because of his batting, but he's been scoring for you in all positions, whether one down, whether he even came at four in one game and made a brilliant 50. So five might be an over exaggeration, but I do feel he's fit to play in that one down position, and that's where Sai's take might be right if having Virat and Rohit in the squad, and Abhinav's take also comes into play. Where if you didn't have these two, then Samson could have batted at three. So I completely agree with both these takes. Now, when you put this into this kind of a hindsight perspective, and yes, we will be coming back with a part two on this now because we've only heard 111 from Shashwat, and again, like our last episode that I did with Sai and IPL all-time 11 draft, you can always rate our 11s in our comment section. And please be a little partial. Yes, you can be partial towards me. And yeah, but we'll be back for part two, filming the best possible combination, the pitch analysis, and how India's overall squad looks. Because we have just done somewhat of a SWOT analysis to make sure that the 11s to make sure that the squad looks good, but we still have to do a little bit more of analysis to try and dig out where Ajit Agarkar made a mistake. And we'll be back for that part two. So once again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Thank you to all my panelists for joining me. Shashwat, Sai, and Abhinav, you all made this episode great. I am really looking forward to part two with you all, which we'll be filming in a bit. So once again, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.